Hello, everybody. This is Anitham Saria, and today we are back with lesson 2, week 2 of the Akanksha Chess Initiative. And today we are going to be learning about captures, en passant, and castling. Okay, so first, before we dive in, let's look at the homework from last week. If anyone was unable to do this homework because the link was not working, that's my mistake. I've made a new link now. Everyone should be able to use this link. Okay. Let's start. So first, question 1. How many moves to the knight to reach the top left corner from this position? Remember, knight moves in an L shape. So first, knight will go from here to C5, right? Right now, we're on D3, A, B, C, D, 3 to C5, then C5 to D7, D7 to B6, and B6 to A8. This is just one way, but there's many ways, right? One more way is from D3 to B4, right? So two left, one up, cell shape. Then B4 to D5, and then D5 to B6, and B6 to A8. 4 moves. All of them take 4 moves. I looked at all of the possibilities. It takes a minimum of 4 moves. How many squares can the rook move to? The answer is 14. Now this is simple, right? The rook moves up, down, left, right. And simply what we have to do is we have to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14. 14 moves. 14 is the answer. Okay, next question. How many squares can the bishop go to? How many squares can the bishop go to? The bishop can go to 11 squares, right? Now this is also very simple. Bishop moves in diagonal direction with infinite range. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is the answer. Okay, next question. What piece is missing from the starting position for white and black? The knights are missing from the setup position, right? Black knight, white knight, white knight. Okay. Number 4, what are the total amount of moves white can play in this position? Now remember, the king moves in all directions just like the queen, but with radius and range of only one square. So king can go here, king can go. So c3 king can go, c2 king can go, c1 king can go, d1 king can go, e1 king can go, e2 king can go, e3 king can go, and d3 king can go. So it's 8 squares. So the answer is 8. Okay, next question. What is the least amount of moves for the pawn to reach the highlighted square? This is the highlighted square. Okay, remember, at the starting column, so for white it is the second rank, as for second column, and for black it is the 7th column. The pawn can move 2 jumps, not just 1 jump. You can move 2 jumps. So here the question asks least amount of moves. Question is asking least amount of moves. So how can we get from h2 to h7 as fast as possible? So first move is h2 to h4. First move. Second move is h4 to h5. Third move is h5 to h6. And fourth move is h6 to h7. That's 4 moves. That's the answer. Next question. How many different squares can the queen move to? This is very long, but you can count it out. Queen moves in all directions with infinite range. So it's like a king, but infinite radius. So 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, 5 square, 6 square, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 20, 21, 22, 23. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. The answer is 23 moves and 23 squares. Okay, 7. How many moves till the king reaches the bottom right corner? Now this is the king, this is the bottom right corner. The king can move 1, 2. Only 2 squares and only 2 moves are necessary. Answer is 2. King can also go to g1 and then h1 or g2 and then h2. Both are possible. Okay. How many different squares can the king plus the pawn move in this position? Okay. So knight moves 8 squares in this position, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 squares. What about the pawn? Pawn is at the starting rank. So it can move 2 squares or it can move 1 square. So h3 is one move and h4 is another move. So what is 8 plus 2? 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay. Next question. How many different squares can the bishop plus the rook move in this position? Okay. Now we have to remember it's a different squares. Different squares, right? So the rook, if the rook and the bishop meet in the same square, we can't count the square twice, only once. Otherwise, we'll count the same squares again, which is bad, which means we'll be off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is for the rook. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And our bishop we have to count, but we cannot count c5 and we cannot count g1 because we've already counted it for the rook. So 14 plus f2, 15, d4, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So the answer is 22. So the bishop moves to 6 squares and the rook moves to 14 squares. 8 squares, bishop moves to 8 squares, rook moves to 14 squares. 8 plus 14 is equals to 22. Okay. 10 is simple. How many, list all the pieces in chess and how many pieces do you need to set up a chessboard. All the pieces in chess is king, queen, knight. This is rook, knight, rook. This is rook. This is bishop. This is knight. This is pawn. This is king, and this is queen. Simple. How many pieces do you need to set up a chessboard? You need 32 pieces to set up a chessboard. Next, list the size of a chessboard, 64 squares. Okay, great. Now let's dive into the lesson today. Okay. So as we said earlier, the king can move in all of these directions. 8 possible moves. So now this king can capture all of these pieces, because if you can go here and there's something over there, you can take the piece. The king wants to go here or here. King goes here. The king goes here, which can capture the knight because the knight is on the spot and it's not protected. Let's look at the queen. Okay. Let's look at the queen. Now queen goes in these directions. Queen moves in these 8 directions. But the problem is the queen cannot attack some of these pieces. So queen can attack this piece, queen can attack this piece, right? Queen can go to these pieces, and if you go in the place, then you capture the piece. Simple. But queen can't go here, it can't go here, and it can't go here. So the reason it can't go here is because there's a knight here. If there's a knight on f5, right, the queen can't jump over the knight, sadly. Queen can't jump over this knight. It's not allowed. Which means that queen cannot attack this knight. Same case for this knight. This knight cannot be attacked. The queen cannot go here because there's a knight in the way. So if this knight moves and then the king moves, now this queen can take this knight. Okay? But earlier it couldn't. Okay. What about this knight? F1 knight. Well, the queen does not move in this direction. Queen cannot go in this direction. It's just not allowed. Okay. Next. Next piece we're looking at is a rook. Right? Rook moves in all directions except for diagonal. So it moves up, down, left, right, infinite range. So rook can go this direction, this direction, this direction, and this direction. But the rook cannot attack these knights and these knights. So rook cannot attack this knight because, like we said last time, this knight is in the way. Right? The knight on d7 is in the way. So the rook cannot attack this knight because you can't jump over the piece. That was a glitch, sorry. You cannot attack this piece. You can't jump over the knight. Same reason for this a5 knight. You can't jump over the knight on b5. It's not allowed. For the rook. Okay? These two knights are diagonal of the rook, so the rook cannot attack them. If you can't go to the square, you can't capture the piece. Right? We can go to this square. We can go to this square. So we can capture this piece. Okay, next. Next is the bishop. Sorry. Okay, next is the bishop. The bishop moves diagonally. Right? It can also go to infinite squares. But now this bishop, just like the other pieces so far, cannot jump over pieces. So it can take this knight, it can take this knight, take this knight, take this knight, and it can take this knight. But it can't take the knight on f6 because it cannot jump over the piece. It's not allowed. Next piece. Now, finally, we're going to look at the one piece which can jump over other pieces, which is the knight. Take this position, for example. This knight can take this bishop. It can take these bishops. It can take everything because knight is about to jump over the pieces, right? Knight is called a horse in sometimes. You call a knight a horse. Horses can jump, so this knight can jump over this bishop, over this knight, over these two knights, right? This knight can jump over these two knights, can jump over the queens. It doesn't matter what piece is there, the knight can jump over it. So this knight can take this bishop like this. Okay, that's the one thing to remember. No other piece can do this, only the knight. Okay, now we're going to look at something completely new. This is called castling. This castling is the one move, only one move, where you can move two pieces in one move. So how it works is the king is always on the E row, the row E, and so it moves two squares either to the left, this is left, or to the right. And what happens to the rook is the rook goes one square in the opposite direction that the king moved. So here the king moved from E to G, right? So two squares to the right. And then the rook is now one square to the opposite of right, right? What is opposite of right? Opposite of right is left. So rook is one square left of the king. How about the other thing? The other way, king move two squares to the left. So now this rook is, what is the opposite of left? Opposite of left is right. So rook is now one square to the right of the king. Okay, obviously, if we do this, black can do this, black can do this. And so the names for this is called the short castle or the king side castle. Okay, short castle, king side castle. Same thing. And this is called the queen side castle or the long castle. Long castle, queen side castle, short castle, king side castle. Right, this is the side of the king, this is the side of the king, and this is the side of the queen. Simple enough. Okay, next. Now we're going to be looking at en passant. Okay, a lot of people can say this in many different ways. It doesn't really matter. You just need to understand how it works. It doesn't matter what it's called. Okay, let's look at this and see. Now black's king cannot move anywhere, because if it moves, then white will capture it. Right? It moves here, white will capture it. It moves here, white will capture it, and it's white's turn. So what white can do is can play f5. Now if white plays f5, the king can't move. It can't move because we have our pieces that are protecting all these squares. So now the black has to move this pawn. Now say black moves this pawn to g6, right? What we can do is we can take this pawn. We shouldn't do it because it's a draw, it's a stalemate, but we'll learn about that later, don't worry. But we can take this pawn very easily. What about if it plays g5? If black plays g5, we can still take the pawn. Okay, this rule is called en passant. Let me explain this rule a little bit. Okay, uh, so if white's pawn is on the fifth column, and black's last move or next move is to move a pawn that is next to this pawn two squares. Let me say that again because it's a little complicated. The pawn we're looking at here is this f pawn. And so what are the lanes next to the f pawn? Is the e pawn and the g pawn. So now if black plays the g pawn two squares, and the g pawn is right next to the f pawn, so it plays two squares, white is allowed to capture this g pawn as if the g pawn was on g6, right? Just like it can capture g6, if you go to g5, the white pawn can still capture this pawn. Okay, but there's few contingencies. It has to be next to the white pawn, and it has to be as a one-time thing. Okay, so I can't, after this, I'm not allowed to go here and then say black moves the king. Now I can't do en passant. It's a one-time thing, only one time. You can only do it the one move after this move is played. After this move is played, it's only allowed one time. After that, it's done. You can't do it. Only it's one time ticket, one opportunity. Okay, let's look at this from black's point of view. So black plays this. Now white is winning here because white can move the king, but just assume that white plays f4. Now black can take this pawn as if it is on f3. Okay, let's see again just to explain. Now for white's pawn, it's on the fifth column. For black's pawns, it's on the fourth column. So black's pawn is now on the fourth column, and white's pawn, which is next to black's pawn, right? Black pawn is G, F is next to black, right? This is two different lanes and they're adjacent. They're touching each other. So white moves F4. We have a one-time opportunity to go Gx F3 en passant. Okay, and now black will win because white cannot catch this pawn. Okay, this is called en passant. One-time ticket. For black, it's the fourth rank. For black, it's the fourth column. For white, it's the fifth column, and it's a one-time opportunity. And the pawn has to be right next to uh, the capturing pawn. So so it's the F pawn has to be next to the G pawn. Okay. And finally, we're going to look at if it isn't next to the G pawn, right? So here, white can go here, and even if black goes to H5, we cannot do en passant. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. We can't do this. Okay, so only if it's next to the pawn. Okay, so very good lesson so far. We've learned a lot. Let's quickly look at the homework for let's quickly look at the homework for this week. This is what the homework's gonna look like. I made it very little because we also have to do the homework. Most of you also have to do the homework from last week. This homework, and I've given you the answers now. So feel free to just go and put in the answers. I will give you full credit. For here, this is what it looks like. This is what en passant is. En passant. This is how it's spelled. Uh, and yeah, feel free to contact me. Please friend me on chess.com if you have any questions. I think that is the end of the lesson. I have I've put a new link into the last assignment as I already said. So please finish that assignment. I can also repost it with the next assignment now. And I will give you credit if you've already done it. If you've already done it, don't have to do it. Okay. Great lesson today, guys. Thank you. Bye.